He was melting down at that other school. He was going down and swirling down, and there was no one there to save him. When it comes to children like this, Sinai is saving lives. Freddy is a unique individual with complex needs.
Despite how he may appear, I think that he has a lot of issues.
He is one of the few students that I have met who comes to us with both a specific learning disability, in his case dyslexia, as well as being on the autism spectrum.
And he's aware of those issues. He's very aware of them.
It does make me different. I'm not like everyone else.
So he has needed support both academically as well as socially.
In his 9th grade year, we tried a New York City special ed school. The school did not cater to his needs at all.
I hated it there. It was horrible. I felt like I'm not doing anything.
He was in a class where there's a teacher trying to teach to 20 kids with various learning abilities. And Freddy sat in the back of the room and he got no attention.
Felt like I was different. I didn't belong anywhere. I felt like I was just in this area all by myself.
He came home very frustrated, very upset. He had many meltdowns.
Every single day after I came home, I would go into the shower and I would cry because I hated it there.
He was very agitated, very angry.
I was just having all these things. I didn't know how to deal with them in any way.
He used to come home and immediately he got home, he just started screaming at people.
So one day I flipped out on my parents. I cursed at them. I was just going at them.
For a person on the spectrum, because they don't have that emotional regulation, when they feel something, they feel it even more powerfully than we do.
Things just go out of control.
High school kids on the spectrum struggle tremendously. So if you can think about your most painful memory from high school or from being a young adult, for this young person, that pain is greater exponentially.
It's like dealing with the devil, inside yourself. You're just like, Freddy, you did this, you did that. Oh my God, why did you do this? What's the point? You're just messing everything up. You're nothing. And then it comes into depression, actually, to a point of you're incredibly just depressed.
Many children do become depressed and unfortunately talk about hurting themselves.
I felt like I had no future. I honestly think I could say I was there for another month. I would have thought about some sort of pain to myself.
As bad as it is for typical kids who hear so much about suicide and cutting and the kinds of things that children do when they're in distress, there's a lot of research about kids on the spectrum and suicidal ideation.
I never really think I've actually admitted this, but I honestly do believe that I would have done something to hurt myself. I would have possibly cut wrists or something, because I had nothing. I had no idea. And I felt like I was by myself in just this giant world, but there's no one really to cling on to.
When it comes to children like this, SINAI is saving lives. When Freddy came to us in 9th grade, he was really in a very bad place.
When he came to us, after those 2 months or so, after really experiencing failure, he was a student in crisis.
It was very, very sad to see. He needed support across the board. He needed go-to people who would support him when things were falling apart, whatever that was about, whether it was an academic struggle, whether he needed reading support.
He has dyslexia. It's very severe. I mean, if you can't read, then, it's very hard to get through life.
There are very specific techniques that we use to teach children like this to read. But for Freddy, reading was the easy part. The social skills and becoming a part of this social world took a lot of hard work.
I couldn't pick up on social cues.
The challenge for students like Freddy is that to the rest of the world, they look like a regular kid. A child who offends others socially, a child who interrupts, a child who doesn't know how to read the situation. People did not understand the interplay between those behaviors and the disabilities that he was striving to overcome.
People just, they did not want to be around me.
The positive side was that Freddy has real strengths. He's intelligent. He's a gifted child in certain ways.
SINAI was able to help Freddy excel in the areas in which he was good at.
Our job at SINAI is to look to the strengths of each and every child and to make sure that those strengths are realized, are built, are supported, and expanded so that each child can become the best person that they possibly can be.
From the administration down to all of the teachers, they really cared for Freddy.
There's no magic bullet. There's day after day after day of lessons, of helping him through, of guiding, of practicing conversation skills, of practicing organization skills. There's day after day, many small steps.
Ma'or is for our high school students who have learning disabilities, Asperger's, attention deficit. They are at an average or above average cognitive level, but for whatever reason are having a hard time learning in a typical classroom.
Ma'or is geared towards kids who are going to go to college.
SINAI has partnered with the Kushner Yeshiva High School, which is an amazing high school.
Something that's really awesome about Kushner and SINAI. No one cares if you're in SINAI or not. You're you here.
The opportunities that the Ma'or kids have because they are part of Kushner is something that a special ed school that stands alone in its own building could never provide.
Yes, sometimes students are in a smaller class and there are 5 students in the class, but in the next class, they may be in a typical high school class.
He was in small class sizes for the subjects where he needed the supports. And in the areas where he could excel, they mainstreamed him.
I have mainstream history. I actually took physics last year. I'm doing mainstream math.
Rabbi Rubin and his staff are really true partners because it's not just a matter of our students being tolerated. They're really drawn out by Rabbi Rubin and by his staff to participate in all that Kushner has to offer.
The SINAI Ma'or children contribute significantly to the culture of the school. We can look at the wrestling team. A significant percentage of the wrestling team is comprised of SINAI Ma'or students.
And we're heading into our last match of the third place finals with Freddy Knapp from Kushner Academy and Aaron Freed from MTA.
And they wrestle side by side, practice, run, warm up with mainstream Ray Kushner Yeshiva high school students.
For Freddy, being on the wrestling team was tremendous to watch.
When Freddy first came in, I do remember him being very shy. I remember him kind of walking around more with his head down and maybe just not being overall nearly as confident.
The biggest thing for me with friendship was the wrestling team. It really opened me up into making friends and things like that because I had something similar with him. I did wrestling.
As the years progressed, Freddy walked around, with better posture, just like projecting himself much better. And I think gained a lot of confidence.
I was hanging out with a large amount of Kushner kids, and they never really looked at me differently. And then, I opened up to people very fast, the fact that I'm autistic, and no one cared. No one cared. They could, so what, Freddy? What, can you not wrestle because you're autistic? Is that a thing now? I have never heard of that.
The other kids treated Freddy like any other kid.
So we have Knapp from Kushner and we have Freed from MTA. Now, I talked to Knapp's coach from Kushner, and he said everyone just calls him the Bear.
And Knapp brings him to the mat.
Knapp got the 2-point takedown there.
Kushner coach yelling, very intense.
Oh, and Knapp takes him down.
Smart move by Knapp, lower his body a little bit. Freed missed a headlock, and Knapp took advantage.
He was a Kushner kid on the Kushner wrestling team. You can't ask for more than that.
Let's do a film right there, okay? I love film. It gives me just this happiness.
This is a kid with drive. Like he was so interested in the video production class and was passionate about this work, this film work. He just loves it.
Mr. Berger recognized that Freddy had this passion, and he put it to good use.
Each year I've had really a fortunate ability to have a student teacher.
So Freddy was able to not only be a student in this class, but eventually become sort of a TA in this class and to teach the other kids. This put him on a status that one could only dream for as a high school student. It was a tremendous thing.
What was that thing that we learned right after we learned rule of thirds?
The fact that it says teacher's assistant on his transcript, just a milestone in my eyes, an accomplishment for any student. There really is no delineation when it comes to college guidance between a Maor student and an RKYHS student. They're exactly the same.
So Freddy went through that process like any other high school junior and then senior. He applied to the schools of his choice. His family did an excellent job visiting schools and looking into different possibilities. We discussed different majors for him. There was a time when it was math. There was a time when it was science.
My mom actually thought I was crazy when I said I was interested in film.
I think the one positive thing about the choice of film was that he can express himself so freely. For him, that's very liberating.
I knew Freddy wanted film, and I researched film programs, and I wanted to make sure that he was at a school that not only would be able to handle his learning needs, but also really that he can continue being passionate about film.
Like any other teenager, he has been able to explore his interests. He has been able to follow his heart.
I feel great. When I was in 6th grade, they kind of believed I was never going to be able to go to college. I actually have gotten into 6 colleges right now, so there, I would like to think that I have exceeded way past any of the expectations for me.
Welcome to the commencement exercises for the class of 2015, the Ray Kushner Yeshiva High School.
The graduation was truly an inspiration for us because we didn't know what his educational future was. And so to see this day is truly amazing.
And I thought to myself, this is an amazing kid.
Here we are, we have Freddy. He's graduating 12th grade, and he is a great example of what we want our students to be when they graduate. He is confident, he is skilled, and he's driven.
Freddy is graduating with the ability to go into a university, enroll in a course, and say to himself, I can do this.
I am the proud parent of a high school graduate.
Ready now.
I'm exhilarated and validated and inspired.
He's going to college in August, and I'm very proud.
I've gotten into college, and I have more than one choice, and the world's my oyster.
Freddy is an excellent example of having that opportunity to rise up into his potential and to really shine in so many ways.
I've known Freddy for so long, and watching where he's come from over these years has been just amazing. Like, I'm just so thrilled.
I am terrifically proud of Freddy. He has worked really hard.
I'm proud to be his mom. It's very emotional because we didn't know what his future was.
He was really in a very bad place, but he's made it. That image of Freddy shutting down is not the Freddy of today.
He couldn't have done it without SINAI.
I've tried many times to imagine my life if I didn't come here, and I don't see a life. I will, for the rest of my life, be changed because of my time here at Maor Sinai.
A song for you, my child, filled with hope and joy, 'cause they embrace you. What a change in you. In the open arms, the arms of Sinai. I want it all for you. I want all of your dreams to come true. I want it all for you. There is nothing that I wouldn't do. In the open arms, the arms of Sinai.